Welcome to Wednesday. We have a really great episode in store for you today on Jesus.Plus.Life. Jesus.Plus.Life is all about giving you a cheery conversation about juicy topics that we are experiencing right now in our life. This week, it couldn't get any juicier. Sonny and I sat down to have a conversation with our teenage daughters. Both are 14 and going into high school this year. Watch and laugh with us as they ask questions, and we ask them some too. We get right into the weeds about friendships and fashion and the mom and daughter relationship. Now's the time to hit that share button if you know anyone with a teenager. Turn up the volume on your device and get your notepads out. You're going to want to write some of this down. Let's jump right into the conversation. So the mom and daughter relationship is super special. And of course, we always get along and never fight or have disagreements. Never. Just kidding. So here's a question. Here's a question for you, Aubrey. What are some situations or things that you and your mom don't agree on?
Well, she likes to come into my room and just take my phone just for fun and then leave. So I really don't like when she does that, but
don't agree. Why do you think she does that?
Because if my room is messy, she'll be like, "Come on, give me your phone. Clean your room. You can have it back when it's done." And I'm like,
so
why
there
is
is
my
a
phone
reason.
be gone?
So there is a reason.
There's a reason, yeah. So what would you say are things you might not agree on?
I would say maybe we don't agree on the reason behind things, which you just brought up. That you're like, I come and take your phone for no reason, but I don't just come and take your phone. Yes. I used to check your phone and just say, give it to me. Now I'm not really taking it to check it, but obviously I need to communicate better. Your room looks disgusting. Give me your phone. And then it's very clear why I'm taking your phone. There are times I walk in and I just look around and go, are you serious? Give me your phone. And then, yeah. How about you? Let's put you two on the spot. Same age, same situation. Okay.
So my friend invited me to come to a summer camp this summer. I don't know what it was, but it was a sleepaway camp and it was an hour away. It was Lake Longren, I think, and she said no. And I sort of didn't know why, but yeah.
Okay, well that's a good point. That's a good point. So you didn't know why.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good takeaway. So
You're so teachable.
I was
shut up.
I think
that's a good point.
But I think in our heads as parents, we know why or what we're trying to accomplish with a no.
Right.
But maybe that's not coming across to the teenagers.
Right. So what was your reason that you didn't have her go?
Yeah, the no was the reason why it was a no, and it was just a no for now. We talked about okay, we'd revisit this, but we only knew the one person who invited her, which we love. She's amazing, but we didn't know anyone else that was going to be there. And so with it being an hour away and we weren't familiar, and she was, she just turned 14. Well, not just, but you're 14. We just weren't comfortable as a parent. We just weren't comfortable with the situation. Yeah. So we said no, mostly out of us thinking we're protecting you. But knowing that this will probably come up again next year, and so we'll have to have that conversation again. Okay, so what could be different? It's not a trust thing, it was more of a parenting protection sort of thing.
Right, protection, which is love. Yeah. We didn't do dances. Isaiah and Aubrey didn't do dances. Aubrey still hasn't been to a dance, correct? Unless you snuck. But Isaiah didn't get to go to dances, and then he's almost 2 years older, so now he's gone to a dance. And we said no for now, which is hard. We want to say no forever, just so you know. She really wants to say no camp forever because you don't know what can happen there. But we're like, we know we have to give some leash, and so you'll eventually go to a dance. But for now, just dance at theater. Are you crying? No, I'm not crying. That's the thing. My kids always say, are you crying? Because when I get deeper.
That's so great.
But I'm glad you know that I'm emotional. Okay.
But often, we think of our teens as coming to us for advice, right? Which we're your parents. We want you to come to us. But here's your chance. What is a piece of advice that you would give a mom of a teenager?
I'll go. I was thinking about it, but like establishing a relationship with your daughter that's not just like clean your room, hey, let me take your phone, or like like calling you but like also like taking them out to eat or get coffee or something, just talking with them, like almost a friendship. So
Okay.
That's really nice.
Well, mine is not that good. I think like setting boundaries so that they can learn and like they aren't making a ton of mistakes, but also giving them room to make mistakes so that they can learn from them and then in the future know what to do in those situations. So like, let me do stuff, you know?
So what I heard from that is you like boundaries.
No.
I'm like, good, got that down. But you, okay, so I get it. I know you want more, to do more all the time. And I get
Well,
that.
this isn't just directed at you.
Right.
But
But
it
you
is.
do think boundaries are important? Like you would say moms of teenagers, there should be
Yeah,
some
for
boundaries.
sure.
Talk about that. Why?
Because if you don't give boundaries, then they're just gonna run around doing whatever they want.
I like my girl.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen that in like just kids you know that are your age? Have you seen that, like kids that you think, ooh, they must not have boundaries? And
Does it affect them? Like,
Yeah.
For sure.
wow.
Yeah.
So they think they're having all this freedom, and you might look at them and go, oh, they can do whatever they want, but you actually go, ooh, they're not
Yeah.
making good choices. Wow, I like
Yeah,
that.
that's good. So that's good to know.
Yes.
Parents, boundaries are good.
They accept them.
They accept them. But I know like in these years, like our girls are 14. Going to be freshmen
And that's their real age.
in high school. That's their real age. That's where I think we as parents, but moms, start to struggle. It's that, okay, like, I guess you could probably do that. Like, we trust you, but
We don't trust everybody else.
Around,
It's just
yeah.
like when somebody says, oh, I trust your driving. I just don't trust the drivers around you.
Right.
That's kind of how we feel about life. Like, we trust you, we don't trust high school. But then we're like freaking out about all the stories or all the crazy stuff that happened when we were in high school. That's a hard thing. We are having to realize we've raised them to like boundaries, but also like freedom.
So that was really good. Parents, are you hearing what those teens just said? I often get the comment from my kids, Mom, you're not listening to me. There's a difference between hearing and listening. It is so hard to go from always being the one giving the advice and doing all the talking to understanding that your teens have some thoughts and advice of their own. We have to take the time to let them talk, even in those moments when it feels like they won't stop talking. That way they form a habit and a trust of sharing with us. Is that as hard for you as it is for me? Give me a thumbs up if that's a struggle for you too. Let's listen to what else these teens had to say in the conversation.
So girls, what is the most embarrassing thing your mom has done in front of you?
Oh my god.
Kalia, you go first about this one.
So we were at a soccer game and it was raining and we were in the bleachers and I was like, we were about to go, we were cleaning everything up. She's like, make sure you're careful when you're walking down the stairs. So she gets up and goes ahead of me and slips all the way down the stairs.
It hurts so bad.
And I'm like, wow. And then everyone else is like, are you okay? Are you okay? They're like surrounding me.
And you're like walking away.
And yes, it was bad. And I'm like, oh, like, you know when you're in the moment of like something like traumatic like that, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't swear. You know, like, oh my gosh, like, holy cow.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
so
I was embarrassed too. That was embarrassing.
That's so great. Okay, what about you?
So, I was
don't wanna-
in The Wizard of Oz just recently, and my mom decided that she would come help backstage, which was nice of her, but we have a very small theater that we perform in, so like you can hear the stuff that's going on backstage in the audience. So our directors are very clear, like you have to be very quiet backstage, no whispering, nothing, do not talk. And so my mom was supposed to stay upstairs in the dressing room, and
But there was
when
nobody
I came
there.
down, I realized that she was walking around backstage trying to talk to people. And she comes home and she was like, I kept trying to talk to them and they were all so shy and they didn't want to talk to me. And I was like, you were talking back there? It was so bad.
I introduced myself to everybody and found out their name. And Toto was there, dog. So I'm like, Toto's so cute. And then they were all like, and I didn't know why they had such a look on their face.
And then I went to rehearsal the next day, and they were like, Aubrey, your mom was so loud. It was so bad.
But they thought I was nice, right?
And
it was called kindness.
Nice and cute.
I did wear a cool hat to be cool.
They mentioned that. They were like, and she was wearing this like gangster hat.
That's so great. Oh my gosh, so we can't be loud and nice? We can't be loud and nice?
It just
Like,
kept
nice, but not loud.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we need to tame it down.
Okay,
we have a
all
problem
right.
with that. So funny.
That's so great.
Okay, so I have noticed that we're a little more embarrassing these days than we've ever been in your life, right? Like, are we like the most cringy? See, and then I say that. And she's like, oh, you're saying
That was good.
I use the words they use. Actually.
Are we more embarrassing just because
No, I
you're
think
maybe
it's-
more aware?
Yeah, I think it's because, well, when we were little, it's just like, it's just like, oh, that's just my mom. And then now it's just like, that's my mom, but she's really loud, louder than everyone else.
Do other kids think their parents are embarrassing or just you?
I mean, a lot of kids don't like their parents.
Oh.
At least we like our parents, but
Oh, so you like us, we're just embarrassing, but
Yes.
it could be worse.
it could be worse.
Not
it could be
liked.
like,
Why do you
Yeah.
think other kids don't like their, or
Because-
act like they don't like their parents?
I think it's because they don't understand, like when we were talking about boundaries, that they're trying to protect them, and they're just like, oh, they're not letting me do this or that.
Okay.
I think a lot of parents don't put in the effort with their kids.
Yeah.
Like
that's
what
true.
Kalia said, you have to build a relationship and like go out for coffee and stuff. I think a lot of parents just don't do that.
Yeah. That's very insightful. Yes. And really what I think we're hearing, and I hope other parents hear, is it's really the why behind things. You know, parents don't say no. Most good parents who have a good motivation don't say no for no reason.
Right.
There's always a reason behind it, and it's always for your best interest. So I think it's just making sure that we as parents are really explaining the why behind
Yeah.
it. Even if you still don't agree, you would at least know what the thinking behind it is. Embarrassing stories. Not so funny at the time it happens, but funny after. And why would we share these with you? For sure, a good laugh, but also it teaches us to laugh at ourselves. When it comes to being a teenager, it can feel like the entire world is judging you and sizing you up. Teaching them to laugh at mistakes and keep going is really important. The conversation also got serious with the topic of boundaries. We heard them say they don't necessarily love them, but understand why they have them. Does that free you as a parent to hear that? It's our job to create boundaries and then little by little let our teens test them. Pastor Lori always says it's so much better to let them fail while in the home than outside of the home. Jesus.Plus.Life gives you so much wisdom about everyday topics just like this. Check out this commercial on how you can get Jesus.Plus.Life in your life every day. When you add Jesus to your life, don't be surprised when your life changes. And with change come a lot of questions. That's why we're starting a conversation about the journey. You can join Sonny Hennessy, author of Jesus.Plus.Life, right here for a conversation each week. You'll hear questions from Jesus people just like you. Questions about living everyday life with Jesus. Every Tuesday, you'll get the latest conversation. You can subscribe wherever you like to listen. Jesus.Plus.Life, the podcast. So be sure to subscribe to that Jesus.Plus.Life podcast. Take it with you wherever you are. Now let's get back to this fun conversation with our teenagers.
What was a difficult situation you had to deal with when you were a teenager?
I would say it felt like the friends I was around were great friends, but they had a very different life than I had. So I always kind of felt like the pressure of not having the right clothes or the right shoes, or I didn't live in a certain neighborhood, like not having the confidence, like being insecure of kind of where I came from, which, as an adult now, I know like that is something I probably shouldn't have focused on because it would hold me back from doing certain things, but just having the insecurity of feeling like I wasn't like everyone else and sometimes trying to be someone I wasn't, And then I think the other thing was I grew up in a single parent home. My mom and dad were divorced when I was really young. So growing up in a single parent home, which kind of led into like where we lived and not having a lot of money. But not having two parents around, my mom had to work a lot as a single parent. And so kind of growing up a little bit on my own and not having the stable mom-daughter relationship.
Well, I didn't do bad things out of rebellion. I actually did them out of naivety or honestly just out of stupidity. So I wasn't trying to like rebel and get back at my parents or be a bad kid or anything, but I thought I was madly in love my freshman year with a guy who was a junior, and even though I had planned to stay pure and stay, a virgin until I was married, that was my plan, it just took about 4 or 5 months, and then I was like, I love him so much, and I mean, the next step is you just have sex, and I got pregnant the end of my freshman year and went into my sophomore year pregnant. So I had a belly and maternity shorts my sophomore year of high school. That's tough. And it was never out of, I want to be that way. It was that I didn't think about this leads to this to this. So I definitely have tried to pull back from putting that on my kids, because Aubrey and Isaiah were like, okay, we get it. You got pregnant, you had sex, and it's because I was just like, I don't want you to do this, because if you hold hands, you'll get pregnant. But I was like, that leads that. Yeah. And I was like, not trying to be a bad kid, and you're not a bad kid. Yeah. And so that was a really tough time. And then I had the baby early. She didn't live. And so that was when I was 15. So that was the tough time, because I didn't even know how to emotionally process all of that. So that was definitely a tough time. And what was really tough is that there were a lot of teenagers that really liked that I got pregnant and ruined my life. And they would say that publicly, and that would get around, because it was kind of like, oh, she's lived this great life. And my parents actually had money, like you talk about, that was a struggle. My parents had money, but kids didn't like me because my parents had money. And so it was kind of like, oh, it looks good on Sonny. That's cool. And so that was like double hard.
Yeah. And I think, like, good point, like sometimes we try to parent out of what happened to us.
Yes.
And again, I think it's just that motivation and the why behind we do certain things, but really coming like to the realization, like, okay, we know who you are. We know who you are as our kids. So here's why there's this rule or this boundary. And now let's talk about how you say giving them a little bit more leash. But I think even talking about that, our kids understand, like, oh, I get that was really hard, Mom. So I get why that's something we have to talk about.
Well, and in this kind of environment, when it's not in the heat of the moment, because typically I was yelling about, I was a teen pregnancy in the middle of, you want to go to a dance.
Yeah.
And we're arguing about, no, you're not. And it doesn't make sense. You can't go to a dance in 7th grade because you'll get pregnant. My point was, you start early, then by the time you're a junior, you've gone to 80 dances and nothing is fun anymore, and you do more. But in the heat of the moment, that doesn't come across. In situations like this where we sit down, like you said, over coffee, over a smoothie, and you just talk about that. Like, you may not have even known some of those details that I just said, that kids were like, oh, cool, Sonny Foster got what we want her to get, what she deserves. So
I think this is really good, like, talking about your past to your kids, because then we can understand some of the rules you put down on us.
Yeah.
Like,
now I'm crying.
I loved that Clea said she likes having these conversations with us to learn and hear about what we struggled with at their age. It might help your teens understand where you're coming from and remind them why you're doing what you're doing as a parent. These conversations can happen at the kitchen table, in a car ride, on a walk, or sitting next to them in the bleachers. Make time wherever you can get it. Now let's see what else they had to say.
Okay, now we have a fun question.
Oh, excellent.
What was a fashion trend when you were a teenager?
For sure the scrunchies. They're coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the 90s are here. They're back.
Yeah. Bib overalls.
But
we would let one side hang down.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
No, that's a no.
That's a no.
We don't do this now?
No, we
okay.
don't do that.
Okay.
Tree towards you, our tree tree torns? Do you remember tree torns?
What are they?
that is.
Maybe that was a Wisconsin thing. It was like a shoe, and it had like just a little like swoosh, like a little symbol on it. But tree torns, they were cool, but they were super expensive.
Only in Wisconsin.
Probably could have been a Wisconsin thing.
Doc Martens, super in.
For sure.
There were something called lugs, not Uggs.
Lugs, yeah.
Lugs.
I think
Dad wears
And they're like rounded toe more. They're like shorter toed than a Doc Marten. Timberlands were super in.
Those are bad.
The brown leather strap. Corduroy pants.
Corduroy bibs. I had corduroy bibs.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh, that's next
Bangs.
level. Bangs. Yeah.
Not
But
like this kind.
not like this. Like where you take your blow dryer and hairspray and you go.
Yes.
And
Like a little wave.
oh yeah, and you just have a. And I had, they called me, and then I would do this. You'd do the side. You take and you go.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And my 7th grade picture, they called me Fraggle. Like Fraggle Rock. You don't even know what that is. It's Sesame Street because all of the Muppets' hair went like this.
That's so
and mine
great.
went up and out.
How about Esprit?
Hammer pants.
Oh, yes.
MC Hammer pants. They were
MC
like genie pants.
They were cool.
Yeah.
Esprit. Do you remember Esprit?
Oh, Esprit.
Bags. Shoulder bags. Like we didn't have backpacks. I don't feel like we had backpacks. We had shoulder bags.
Yeah, backpacks for little children.
Yep. No backpacks.
Is that enough? Does that give you
That was
some-
a lot.
Oh, there, one more thing. Used jeans.
Okay, yeah.
But they literally said used. Guys.
Used.
They would be like big, because rips were not in, except for the used jeans. So they'd take these jeans and they'd shred them and then put fabric underneath. So
That is
behind
so
it,
now.
and it
Yeah.
would say stamped used, or it would be in paint used under the big rip. And the legs were wider though, more like a Jenko jean.
Jenko.
I know those are.
Yeah. Stonewash. Hello. Stonewash. Yeah, flare. Like everything was kind of flary. We didn't have the tight skinny jeans.
No, skinny jeans, when those came out, we were like, oh
Are those
my Lord.
still in? Are skinny jeans still in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The top I heard needs to be looser, but tighter. Yeah? No? Okay. I thought
Okay.
more like
It's
a
like
boyfriend.
high-waisted.
High-waisted. is
Super
it?
high-waisted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That was fun.
We should have gone into there. That was fun.
So how did you manage friendships when there wasn't texting or social media?
The phone with a cord.
Yes.
You came home from school and you.
Yeah. You had to like have a phone book with all your friends' numbers.
Yes, you
written in
had
it.
like day planner, except it was
Yeah.
a phone book and
Yes.
little and cute polka dots,
Yeah.
whatever you wanted, and you'd flip because you'd have to dial in. There was no, but then caller ID that did.
Caller ID
exist. That started like late
Later.
high school,
Later.
or
Yeah.
college. But middle school and high school, it was with the cord.
For
It was
sure.
you pick it up. I mean, and then there were all kinds of fun ones as a teenager. Like you could have, they were plasticky.
Yeah.
But like
Didn't
a
you have the
cat
lips?
phone.
Like the lips, and then you pick
The
up
shoe?
chocolate? Did
I
you have
didn't.
that?
No, I had something black and white, but it was like an exclamation mark.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'd pick it up. It wasn't easy to hold. It had cheap buttons. You'd click, click,
It
click,
just looked
click.
cool.
But it was cool. And then the cord. The best phones though were the ones in the kitchen because the
yeah.
cord was like
Long.
20 feet long.
Yeah.
And then you'd go sit in another room, close the door. But then somebody in the house could pick up the phone
And listen.
So if you heard click, you go, Mom, Dad.
Are you listening?
They're like, are you still on the phone? I need to use the phone.
Yes.
I'll be right off.
We only had one phone line. It's not like you all had your own phone line.
You might have two if
Maybe
you were
two.
really something.
Maybe two.
And then or
I
call
can't believe
waiting.
people could
Call
listen.
waiting.
Yes.
Call waiting. What was that? They dial in and you could hear. And you
Oh, you would hear
hold
someone
on.
else. Yes, you could put them hold. Yes. It was crazy. Or, and here's the other thing, like, I mean, you would have to figure out how to meet your friend, like get a ride or meet at a park. Like there wasn't Snapchat or Marco Polo where you could spend time with each other
No.
like that. So like, to me, you had to make an effort for a friendship, which it took work. So I feel like it's a little different now. Like it was easy for me to know like who my good friends were
Yes.
because we made an effort. Like it was work.
Well, and you could only spend so much time in a
Yes.
day, so whoever you spent the time with was your friend. So that might be 3. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like you had a friend or a friend circle of 100 people, or
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, 1,000 following you on Instagram. So you're like, oh, well, they're all they know me. No, you may only have 3 close friends and then know like 40 people. Because how else are you going to get to know them or even know who they are?
Yeah. So how do you guys know like who your good friends are? Is it, you know, when you do have so many avenues like Marco Polo, Snapchat, Instagram.
They don't do Marco Polo.
I know. Yeah.
They're like, it's the best.
That's a boundary.
Friends now.
And that's a boundary. Like Clea doesn't have some of those things, but your friends do. So, and maybe you do have some of those things, but how do you navigate your friendships? Like how do you really get to know someone and say that's my good friend?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's like the one I decide to pick a date to hang out with is my friend. Like, I mean, you could text a ton of people and play game pigeon all day and call them your friend, but the ones you actually go spend time with are your real friends.
Okay.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of similar.
It's similar. You
Yeah.
just have the ability to like chat with more
You can get
people along the
closer
way.
to them faster.
Yeah. that's
Like
a
I
good way
have
of
friends that
putting it.
I've become really close with really fast recently, just because we just have ways to text outside of being, like, spend time together outside of actually being together.
Yeah. Fashion trends and friendships, both very important in the teenage years. Both topics can be stressful as well. I love the insightfulness from these teens. Even as adults, we can apply what they are saying about making friends and choosing who we spend our time with. We have one more piece of this conversation to share with you. We took a few minutes to have some fun seeing how well mom and daughter know each other. Take a look and see who won. Okay, we are gonna play How Well Do Mom and Daughter Know Each Other?
Let's win.
Oh yeah.
Total competition.
Total.
Let's go.
Okay, you start, Clea.
All right. So, what is my mom's favorite holiday? So,
We don't have to do this. We have no idea.
No. We should entertain.
pretty positive about this one.
No,
Okay, ready?
no,
3,
ready?
2, 1.
Christmas.
No!
You said Easter. I mean, that's a good one. That's
I'm pretty sure you said that one
At
time.
least they're both holy.
Yeah. It's not like Halloween. Okay,
you go.
Okay, what is your mom's favorite movie?
Oh my gosh. If you don't know this, I don't know. Clea will be my new daughter.
1, 2, 3.
Elf!
That's
Skyline's my favorite.
You did it on your own.
good.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Who? Oh,
You,
me.
you.
Oh, okay. Aubrey, are you an early riser or a night owl? And go. Night owl.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, they're winning.
We're winning. Big
Okay.
time. You better catch up.
Okay,
go.
Clea, what is your favorite food?
Wait, what color is this? Purple?
Yeah.
I really don't want you to get this. Because, okay, ready?
And go.
Rice.
Yeah!
Rice?
Yeah, I just like
so true.
all the carbs. White rice.
Why rice?
She's Hawaiian.
It's
so
my favorite food.
Okay. What is my mom's favorite color?
It's funny the color this card is.
1, 2, 3.
Yellow!
That's fine too.
I actually don't like to wear it. Oh, okay. Oh, it's me. Okay,
You're not gonna get this one.
what is Aubrey? Don't be creative here. Okay, what is your favorite musical? There's 13. So
There's so much more than 14.
ready? And go.
Oh.
No. Legally, she's L in Legally
I
Blonde.
know. That would have been. I know.
It should be your favorite because you
Alright.
need to become
Mom,
L.
we have 2 more.
I am
Okay.
Ugh,
Let's do it.
Aubrey.
Clea, you go.
Me first?
Yeah.
Would your mom rather watch a movie or read a book? Are you writing the whole sentence?
Actually, I like to watch a movie more.
Okay, last one.
All right.
It was watch a movie. We
Yeah.
would would you prefer to travel in a car or a plane? I am really back and forth about this.
You made these
Why?
questions you could have told
I feel like I talk about this all the time.
Okay, here I go.
You don't have to write the whole
ready?
sentence.
Car.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, yes.
I tell you about how
Okay.
sick I am.
We need
all
to
the time.
match them up.
Tied.
Okay, elf,
So elf,
Okay.
yellow,
yellow,
night owl,
night owl,
We got 3 right.
Anastasia.
and we're off on that. So we got 3 right.
Yay!
Okay, so tiebreaker.
Okay. Here, I'll just write it over here.
Okay. I'm the green.
Wait, do we all have to think of a question for each
What
one?
is everyone's favorite Bible verse? Just kidding.
She's always got to
Would
go
not
there.
know.
You gotta take it back to the Bible.
Okay. each other's what is each other's favorite store?
Wait, so we have to write our
That's
favorite
so
store and then
weird.
your
Yeah,
favorite store?
Yeah.
So we rate. Okay, wait.
Is this your guys' question?
With all of our question.
We have to write our
For
favorite
each other. For each
So
other.
we write our own favorite store and then your favorite
Yes.
store. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I see. What is your mom's favorite?
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Okay. Really?
I want you to guess mine.
Mine is probably so dumb.
I don't want to get
Yeah,
yours.
how am I
Mine's
supposed
very
to figure this out?
obvious.
Okay,
You
wait.
could see my least favorite
I don't know if
store,
this is
too.
a store.
I don't know if mine's a story either.
Okay.
Don't know.
Kalia.
It's not even a store.
It's Easter. Her Easter dress.
Okay, ready?
Okay, ready?
Go. Fresh time.
What? It's Gloria jeans. What? Oh my god, it
We want TJ back. I just let my secrets out of the bed. Gloria jeans.
Every time we go to the mall, you're like, we should go with her. I don't know.
You know it's not a jean place, right?
It's coffee.
Yeah, it's coffee. That's why I said I don't think
Gloria
it's
jeans.
So great.
Awesome.
Well, we win.
You won. We had so much fun with this conversation this week. We hope you're able to take away a few things and share it with your teens. I learned not to say the word cringy in front of our teens, and that apparently I talk really loud. Try asking your teen a few of the questions we talked through and see what they have to say. You can rewatch this conversation and any of our other conversations on our YouTube channel. We would love to have you subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram. We love sharing Wednesdays with you. See you next week for another cheery conversation.